Hey guys, welcome back to chapter 6. In this video, we're going to introduce the concept of titration and work through a problem. So in chemistry, we've got lots of different kinds of quantitative analysis that we do. Quantitative analysis, by definition, is determining the amount or concentration of a substance in a sample, and quite often we use a substance that we know to help us determine about a substance that we don't know. So qualitative analysis is helping us learn something about an unknown by using something that we do know. Two types of quantitative analysis that are introduced in this chapter, titration and then gravimetric analysis. We are not going to talk about gravimetric analysis. Instead, we'll focus on titration. So titration, we're going to use a substance of a known value. We're going to mix it with another substance of an unknown value, and through the data that we collect, we'll be able to determine something about the unknown. In this case, because we've been talking about solutions, we're going to focus on concentration. So we're going to have something that we know the concentration of, and then use that to determine something else that we don't know the concentration of. For this, we're going to use acid-base reactions. There are other types of titration other than acid-base, but for right now, we're just going to focus on acid-base titrations. So let's take a look at this equation. So we're going to react hydrochloric acid with the base sodium hydroxide. Yes, there's products, but we care less about the products, more about the reactants. When it comes to titration, we will know the concentration of one of these, and the other reactant will be the unknown. So the nice thing about acid-base titrations is we can put indicators into the solution, and that indicator will help us see when this reaction has stopped reacting, that end point of the reaction. So the color change helps us understand. So let's take a look at how this is practically going to happen. And for those of you that have my in-person lab, we'll do this in the lab this week. So in here, this is called our burette. Inside of our burette is going to go our substance of known concentration. So we'll fill this up. The burette has one job, and the one job of a burette is to measure how much of a liquid we put in. So we'll open this up, we'll close it, open it up, close it, open it up, close it, and we'll measure exactly how much of our known that we're putting into this flask. Into this flask will go our unknown. We know what it is, right? But what we don't know is the concentration of this. So we'll open, close, and we'll add our known to our unknown. At some point, the solution will change color. That is going to be the end point, or what we call the equivalence point. Okay. So the equivalence point is a moment when the number of moles of our titrant, well, what was our titrant? It was whatever was in the burette. So the number of moles of titrant is stoichiometrically equal to what is being analyzed. So that term stoichiometrically equal sounds super fancy. All it means is that we are at the moment where that mole to mole ratio, the coefficients, we're at that moment where those two are equal to one another. So in other words, we're at the moment where I can use stoichiometry to get from moles of my known to moles of my unknown. So that's the equivalence point or the end point. So titration problems, the math associated with them is not terribly difficult. It's pretty easy algebra. The difficult part about titration problems is keeping track of all the information. Okay? So I've come up with kind of a 3-step mantra to help us. And I also think it's really important that we draw this picture as well. because the picture and the mantra will help us to get to the correct answer. So let's take a look at an example together. We're going to talk about the steps and then we'll dive in. So the problem, suppose we have 22.4 milliliters of 0.1 molar sodium hydroxide, and that was needed to reach the equivalent point or endpoint of 100 milliliters of an unknown sample of hydrochloric acid. What is the concentration of hydrochloric acid? So the three steps that we're going to use, the mantra that I've come up with is molarity, moles, molarity. So in the first step for molarity, we're going to use the molarity equation to determine the number of moles of the known. Molarity, moles. Then we're going to do that stoichiometry. We're going to do that mole to mole conversion to get from our known to our unknown. Then we're going to go back to our molarity equation to determine the molarity of our hydrochloric acid. So the mantra is molarity, moles, molarity. That's our mantra. So I'm going to click ahead here so we have some space to work, and we're going to draw our picture. So every titration is going to have some sort of burette. And then we're going to put that liquid into a flask. In here in our burette is always going to go our known. And then down here in the flask is always going to go our unknown. And then, much like the mantra, we're going to work our way down this picture. So molarity, moles, molarity, as we move down the picture. So now that we've got our picture onto the paper, we can start kind of filling in what we know. So suppose we have 22.4 milliliters of 0.1 molar sodium hydroxide. This 0.1 molar is a concentration that I know. So right away, that makes it my known. So I know that it's 0.1 molar. I know that it's sodium hydroxide. And then I also know exactly how much of that sodium hydroxide I put into solution. So I put 22.40 mils. As I continue through the problem, so that's how much is needed to reach the equivalence point or endpoint in 100 mils of an unknown sample of HCl. So what's unknown about this is the concentration. So I know that it's that's okay. I know that it's HCl. And I also know how much I put into that flask. So I know that when I filled this flask up, I measured that. I know that I put 100 milliliters of it in there. Okay. So I know what it is, and I know how much it is. The only thing that I don't know is the concentration. All right, so now that we have our picture, we can start solving. So our three steps are molarity, moles, molarity. So step number one, molarity. Guess what we're going to use in this step? Yep, the molarity equation, right? So molarity, moles, molarity, we'll use the molarity equation. So I'm going to take inventory of what I know, try to figure out what I'm solving for. So in this first step, we're going to use our known value. Do I know the concentration of my sodium hydroxide? Yep, I do. That's what makes it the known. Any mention of the number of moles of sodium hydroxide? No. And do I know the volume of sodium hydroxide? Do I know how much I used? I do, right? It's 22.4 milliliters. But remember, our volume has to be in liters. So we would convert that. So divide it by 1,000 or Move the decimal over 3 places. So the correct volume is 0.0224 liters. So it looks like we're solving for moles. So let's go ahead and plug this into our equation and chug through it. So 0.1 equals N over 0.0224 liters. So to solve, I'm going to multiply by the 0.0224. Whatever I do to the right side, I also have to do to the left side. So multiply this by 0.00224. And I get that moles are in equals 0.00224. And that's moles of the sodium hydroxide of the known. All right, so step number 1, use the molarity equation, solve for moles. Step number 2, molarity mole. Okay. So in this step, we're going to go from moles of our known to moles of our unknown. So we're going to kind of make this jump from burette to flask, known to unknown. So in this step, we're using that stoichiometric equivalence point. So I'm going to start with 0.00224 moles of sodium hydroxide. And I'm going to train track it this step because I'm changing units from moles of sodium hydroxide to moles of my unknown, which in this case is HCl. So mole to mole conversion, where do I get the numbers that go into this? I get them from the balanced equation. So this one happens to be 1 and 1, not always going to be that way, but 1 and 1. Unit of sodium hydroxide cancels, we're in unit of mole. So in this step, we solve for 0.224 moles of HCl. Step number 3, molarity, moles, molarity. So we're going to go back to our molarity equation. But this time we've made our way down this picture. Now we're at the bottom. So molarity equation again, but now we're inputting values for our unknown. So taking inventory, molarity, moles, and volume. So molarity is literally what I'm solving for. That's the unknown that I'm trying to figure out. I do know now the moles of my unknown because I just solved for that in step 2. So this is 0.00224. And remember, I also know exactly how much of that I put into the flask to begin with. It was 100 mils. But again, I can't use milliliters, I have to use liters. So divide by 1,000, and this becomes 0.1 liter. All right, so now we can plug this into our equation. So molarity equals number of moles, 0.00224. Volume, 0.01 liters. So we're going to divide those two numbers, 0.00224 divided by 0.1, and I get the molarity equals 0.024 molar. So each step of this equation is not terribly difficult. It's just pretty straightforward algebra. The hard part is keeping track of all of the data that's in this problem. So to summarize, we did a 3-step mantra. We did molarity, moles, molarity. Step 1 is molarity, using information about our known to get to moles. Step 2 is a mole to mole ratio to get from our moles of our known to moles of our unknown. And then we go back to the molarity equation to solve for the concentration of our unknown. Again, now inputting the data for our unknown in that step. That was a lot. We've got one more video that's going to work another example of this. I hope you guys found that helpful.